Okay, everybody. Well, this is kind of an unusual way for me to make a video, I guess. Didn't really feel like doing it in front of the iMac. Kind of wanted to go outside, and I know a lot of people out there enjoy seeing fall colors. So I figured, hey, what the heck? While I do a video like this, maybe you'd like to see something like that. And of course, if ever you get bored of watching it, you can always just put it in the background and just listen to it, because you're not really going to see much in this video. It's just mostly me talking about what's been going on lately. So basically, long story short, 2022 has been a pretty eventful year for me, and I don't really mean that in a good way. So, let me explain what's been going on. Basically, it's been the year of work stress, projects not related to work, and car problems. So, let me go ahead and explain what's going on here. So, just around the time, actually, I made the video for you guys back in, I believe it was either May or June, when I worked on the garage doors and the openers. I had a little car problem going on. What was happening was, let me say it again. On the way home from work, believe it or not, just around the time I pulled into the driveway or into the garage, as soon as I go into the garage and I'm stopping the car, the engine starts idling very poorly, almost to the point of stalling. So I was like, what the heck was that all about? So I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so I look over the engine, I try to look at anything I could possibly see that's wrong. I personally don't see anything. I did find a cracked vacuum hose to the fuel pressure regulator, but I figured that wasn't going to fix the problem. Sure enough, it didn't. So I replaced that hose, didn't fix it. Then I tried something I figured wasn't going to work, but I just did it anyway. I took apart the air box, took off the intake duct, I cleaned the intake air temperature sensor, the MAF sensor. For those of you who don't know, MAF sensor means mass airflow sensor. Basically measures the amount of air going into the engine. And I did a whole bunch of cleaning on the throttle body, and I checked the air filter. Put all that back together, engine settled, same problem, no dice. So, alright, time to bring it in. So, I bring it in, and basically, long story short, it came out to what's called the EGR valve. And I don't quite know exactly how to explain that to you guys, but basically, it has to do with, I guess, air flow and things like that. And what had happened was, the EGR valve itself and the vacuum ports leading to it had gotten all clogged with carbon deposits and things like that. And that's just something that naturally happens. Really, there's really no way to prevent that from happening. It's just something that happens with the engine. It's 21 years old. It had, at the time, about 145,000 miles on it. So, okay, get that fixed. It's labor intensive, but that's why I work. So they had to go behind the engine, take off the intake manifold, get to it, and replace all that part. Okay. So after all that happens, then as you guys know, back in July, I had the crankshaft pulley break, so I had to obviously bring that in because the engine lost the alternator / AC compressor belt, so that needed to get replaced. So I did that, got a new crankshaft pulley, 2 new drive belts, alright. And if that wasn't enough, basically I go on sometime in August, something else happened, but since I'm on the car, I'll keep at it. In August, I go to go visit one of my friends. And then as soon as I get onto the highway, the check engine light starts blinking, which as you know means there's a condition that needs to be looked at immediately. So I'm just like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. So I go ahead and pull into a parking lot, the light stops blinking, look under the hood, I can't see any problems, of course. Thankfully, I drove the car back home, the light never came back on, so that was good. And that's the other thing I meant to tell you guys. When the EGR valve problem happened with the bad idling, the engine never threw a code. The light never came on. I used my scan tool. No codes whatsoever. So it's like, of course, the one time you wanted to throw a code, it doesn't. Now, between those events, I left something out here. A couple of things, actually. As you know, around the start of August, I had to replace the run capacitor for the second floor air conditioner. That wasn't a hard job to do, just knowing that I had to deal with no AC on the second floor for a couple of days. Yeah, I know, first world problems, but just an annoyance. And then after I got that fixed, about a week or two later, I go down to the basement and I find a bunch of water on the floor by the dehumidifier. So I look at the dehumidifier, I look at its drain pipe, nothing. Everything looks totally normal. Then I look up at the condensate drain for the second floor, and sure enough, there's water dripping out of that pipe. I guess what had happened was, over the years, buildup happened in the trap, so water was basically just overflowing right into the basement floor. So I was able to get a snake. I snaked through the trap, went up and down through it. The blockage eventually cleared. Water flowed well back down. Then I basically hopefully help keep the pipe clear for a little while. I ran some very hot water through the pipe, and then put in about a quart of white vinegar. So obviously the air conditioning system was still running at the time, so that white vinegar would probably get diluted not too long, but I figured the acidity of it would help keep the trap clear, so obviously that's been fine ever since. Then another problem that happened was I look at the hot tub and I see that the concrete around it is wet, which can only mean one thing. Yep, it developed a leak. What happened there was the main circulation pump, that small pump you may remember from my videos, the pump seal had developed a leak there. Now, that doesn't really surprise me because that pump runs just about 24/7, so it lasted, I guess, just over 4 years without incident. So I want to see if maybe I can get that pump to not run all the time. I mean, it kind of has to in the winter, but in the summertime, who knows? Maybe I'll figure something out. So anyway, I do that. I look at the pump model number, all the information, put it into Amazon, get a new pump seal. I take the pump apart, get it out, and turns out the parts I got were the wrong parts, so that's always nice. So I sent those parts back, waited a few more days for the right parts to come, then finally put the new pump parts in, put everything back together, which took a lot more work than it should have, but I did it anyway. Turn the pump back on, no leaks, everything's completely dry. So that's all said and done, which is good. All right, then let's see here. So I mentioned that, okay. And then another project that I still have to do actually is, one time I'm upstairs in my room and I'm hearing this noise. Now it kind of sounds like, believe it or not, it sounds like a smoke alarm beeping, which obviously I knew wasn't the case because the way the smoke alarms in this house work are, if one smoke alarm gets triggered, all of them start beeping. So that obviously wasn't the case. And this wasn't like a low battery beep, it was just a continuous sound. But I go into the guest room that has, in the back, that has the windowed bathroom. And I'm looking around, I go inside the bathroom, and I'm hearing this noise. I don't know what the heck it is. I'm looking around, and then finally I take off the lid to the toilet tank, and the fill valve wasn't sealing completely anymore. So I have to get that replaced, and, excuse me. Excuse me there. So I have to get that replaced now. I still have to go to Home Depot and get that done. Hopefully in the next few days I'll be able to get that taken care of. So I mentioned all that, and then what else happened here? Yeah, so I mentioned about the check engine light blinking when I went to go see my friend. Back to the car. So basically, I get it looked at again, trying to figure out what the problem is. And it's weird because when the check engine light was blinking, that means a misfire condition. And the only other time I had a misfire was in 2019 when my plugs were worn. You could feel those misfires. In this case, though, the engine is completely smooth. You don't feel anything, but apparently something is wrong to the point where the computer's throwing a code saying that the engine is misfiring. Sure enough, I put in my scan tool, and it comes up, what is it, P0300, which is random/multiple misfire detected, cylinder misfire detected. Bring it to the car place, they look at it, and sure enough, there's some other valve, not far from the EGR valve, a check valve, that was cracked and needed new hoses and things like that. So, of course, the intake manifold has to come off again, which means more labor-intensive work. And since the intake manifold was coming off, I basically told them to replace the valve cover gaskets because they were getting kind of old anyway, so they did that. And actually, one thing I did before I brought the car in was, when the check engine light was blinking, I replaced a few things on the engine myself. I replaced the ignition coil pack, the ignition wires, because the coil pack was original, and the ignition wires were 15 years old. And so I figured, why not? And just for a full service, I replaced every single spark plug myself. So new coil pack, new ignition wires, new spark plugs, put those on, ended up not fixing the problem, of course. Then I brought it to the service place to get that valve and whatever stuff replaced, with the intake manifold had to come off again. Okay, so that work happens, all right. Then the stress at work had basically kind of settled by this point, for then, okay. And then I'm coming home one day from work, going up a hill, and as I come back down, guess what? Check engine light starts blinking. Now, I just paid about, I'm going to give you numbers here, about $1,600 for a service to fix a blinking check engine light, and it blinked again. You can only imagine just how pissed off I was, okay, when that had happened. I left work that day and got home just in a very, very bad mood. So I bring it to the service place again. He's very apologetic, this and that. And as it turns out, he said, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. This time, when I ran the scan tool, it said P0301, which means the misfire was specific to cylinder 1. He drove the car, he couldn't get it to misfire in any way whatsoever, so what he did was, he looked very carefully at my spark plugs. He said there may be a hairline crack in the, I think it's ceramic, of the cylinder 1 plug, he's not sure. So what he did was, he swapped cylinder 1 and cylinder 3's plugs and put them in. So far, no light has come on, but if it does happen again, I'll see if it's specific to cylinder 3, and if it is, then I'll know that the plug is the issue. If not, then who knows what the problem is going to be with that, but those car problems just really, oh my gosh, they just made me so down beyond belief. And then, just this past week, no, actually today's Sunday, so 2 weeks ago, around Thursday, I'm going to work and I'm feeling kind of off. Like, you know how you don't feel quite 100%? So I go to work and I finish, and I work the entire day, that's all good, and then I'm definitely not feeling quite right, so I go home regular time, and around 10:30 at night I decided to go to bed just because I wanted to see how I was going to feel in the morning. And I woke up around 4 o'clock and just, oh man, I just felt like, basically I had cold symptoms. I felt congested, I was coughing, and I could tell I had a fever and this and that, so I called into work that Friday, so that wasn't a problem. And then since, let's see, my folks are away, so basically they have a COVID test kit, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? While I'm home, let me take the COVID test and see what happens. So I take the test, and needless to say, it comes back positive, so that's just great. And they say normally when you do COVID tests, you should basically see the results on the test strip about 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, my result came back in about 30 seconds, so I mean, you could just see how much I had it. So basically, I had cold symptoms, more or less. I had a 101.2 fever, and just anything you would normally expect from a cold. And then through the next couple of days, the fever goes away. I physically feel better. And Jay, I know we exchanged emails about this, but I spoke kind of prematurely. About that Saturday, I believe it was, I lost sense of taste, which unfortunately I still haven't gotten back yet. I'll be honest, I really don't care for that. I'm pretty annoyed about it, but the way it is right now is, when I start eating something, I may notice the slight taste initially, but then as time goes on, it's just not there. So I didn't get it the worst, obviously. In case you're going to ask, yes, I had both my shots and the booster, so I had that. And basically, I still have this lingering minor cough, which, from what I heard, actually is okay. I was clear to go back to work. We were off Monday because it was Columbus Day, and then I go back into work I was off from work Tuesday and Wednesday, and I go back in the next 2 days on Thursday with a mask on. So I took care of that, and basically, when the positive COVID result happened, that wasn't even the worst of my moods. Okay, just with everything that's been going on this year, I almost laughed at the result, because it's like, oh hey, just another thing to add to this year, you know. And on that note, in case you guys are wondering why I haven't been uploading many videos lately, that's kind of the reason why. Well, that's one of the reasons. That's not all the reasons. It just, you know, the mood hasn't been there, and the main reason why I haven't been uploading much lately is because I feel like there's less of a community with things, and honestly, I'd go into more of those details, but that's another story for another time. And so that's where we are right now. I'm at home right now, and basically yesterday was my day to just, I washed everything. I went to the laundromat to wash the bedspreads, because those are kind of large for the Speed Queen. And then I came home, I washed all my laundry, all my bed sheets, the pillowcases, and I also washed the Sharks, as you know that I have. I know a couple of you guys wanted me to make a video of me washing them again, but I'm sorry, I was not in the mood to make a video about it. And with everything that's been going on for me this year, with the car problems, and the work stress, by the way, did come back, of course, when I wasn't, around the time I wasn't feeling well, which didn't help things. I'm not going to go into details about what that is because of this work, but hopefully, sooner than later, this problem will all be resolved. So between all the projects I had to do this year, all the car problems, me not feeling well, and all the stuff at work, this year has just been one downer for me. You know, it really has. Have I had some good things happen this year? Yes, I'm not going to deny that. But just in general, it's been one thing after another this year. And remember how I felt when I had my whole society break in 2021? That's almost how I'm feeling again right now with just everything that's been going on. So hopefully things calm down. You know, I'm still at home, just doing what I can to keep stress free, or keep my stress levels down. You know, I'm watching videos, I'm playing some games every now and then, I'm talking to friends online, but I guess there's only so much you can do. I really hope that, you know, from this point on, things pick up. You know, you can only hope. I can't recall a year where I've had this many things happen. And like, I get it. Like, sometimes, you know, when you're in adulthood, you have times that really stress you out beyond belief, and you know, things can only look up from there. But hopefully it happens sooner than later, because I'll believe it when I see it right now. Because everything that's been going on this year has just been one huge stress thing after another. One thing I do want to say, though, my older brother is awesome, because when I was in bed, I was basically in bed all day Friday, not 2 Fridays ago, not feeling very well. I needed some, like, you know, orange juice and things like that, and then he actually went ahead and, because Stop and Shop delivers, he actually went ahead, called Stop and Shop, did a delivery, and he paid for all of it. Like, basically, I was expecting maybe just some orange juice and some things and things like that. He didn't just do that. He got me orange juice, he got me pasta, pizza, pasta sauce, raisin bread. He basically stocked me up without me even asking. I cannot thank him enough for doing that. That was just insanely nice of him. I really don't know how to put into words of just how thankful I am to him that he did that for me. You know, that's maybe one thing that made me feel good when I was not feeling well that Friday, was just that, you know, he was able to do such a, you know, thing for me like that. I can't thank him enough for that, seriously. So, you know, even though I've been cleared to go back to work like I was last week, I've been, you know, staying away from people, and things, being careful when I go shopping and things like that. So, but I've been staying home most of the time. That Thursday to Wednesday, I stayed home completely. I didn't go out anywhere. So I did my quarantine, if you want to call it that, because I think the guidelines are now, it has to be 5 days and things like that, and then you got to be cleared before you go back to work, which I was. So I guess that's where you are now, guys. You know, I mean, I know you guys, some of you may be wondering why I haven't uploaded in a while. Well, there you go. I mean, one thing I will plan to do, I think, is, I know I've told you guys these don't really interest me that much anymore, but maybe I'll do another washer video when time and moods permit. I know some of you will want to see that again. And, you know, this is where we are, so I'm still kind of recovering. I don't have much of a taste ability, unfortunately, but, you know, could be a lot worse, I guess. And I'm just hoping that, you know, as the year goes on and well into 2023, I'm just hoping things go on the up and up, because things have just been going down and down and down for me this year, and really it's been taking a toll on me mentally, and just my stress levels have been through the roof. They've calmed down a little bit, but the last couple weeks, they just have not been good. So, in case you're wondering why I haven't uploaded much or, you know, done much lately, that's pretty much why. So there you guys go. So there's like a little life update for you. You know, I'm okay, if you're going to ask that. I'm okay, you know. I'm just trying to take things one at a time and see how the rest of the year goes. And, you know, when time, like I said, when time and moods permit, if there's something interesting for me to video on, I'll do it. Just, I haven't had the mood lately. And between all the stuff going on, it really took, all that interest really took a hit. So we'll see where it goes from here. I will make a video at some point when moods permit. And if you guys watch all the way to the end of this video, thanks a lot for listening. It's not often I make a video like this. Hopefully it won't be a common occurrence. But again, if you listened, thanks a lot. I do appreciate it. Hopefully things will be on the up and up from here on out. You know, we'll see. Time will tell, like I always say. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.